We're just a handful of hours away from the official release of Dying Light 2, and as we get closer and closer to the worldwide release of this game, there's obviously going to be more and more videos dropped on it, including this one. Now, what I wanted to do in this video though was talk about the prologue, pretty much compare it to the first one. Techalnds' approach in the tutorial system, introducing players to the game's story, the mechanics, the pacing between the two games is quite different, so I wanted to compare the two without revealing too much in terms of cutscenes or story. So with that in mind, I'm not going to be showing anything past that initial hour. I'm also not going to be showing any story related cutscenes. There's quite a few within that first hour that kind of just drop a whole bunch of information on you. I think if you're not following the story of Aiden entirely, you might be a little confused. It's not like you're going to be completely lost. It just might take you an extra minute or two to get your bearings straight, figure out who's what and what exactly is going on. That's all I'm saying. And of course, because we're talking prologue, at least the very start of Dying Light 2 is going to be spoiled. So this is your spoiler warning if you don't want to get that initial at least 5 minutes ruined for you, or really any of the gameplay. But let's start off with the original Dying Light all the way back in 2015. That game kicked off with a quick debriefing of everything that was going on. You're playing as a GRE agent by the name of Kyle Crane, sent to the city of Haran to recover a very sensitive file from a local political figure that's gone underground. Upon landing, Crane gets bit, is taken to the tower by a group of survivors, and then he has to prove himself. During a quick tutorial system, you learn crafting, at least the very basics, how to craft a med kit. You're then taken to the rooftop and you're introduced to the mechanics of parkour there by running through a series of obstacles that are related to jumping, climbing, vaulting, and balancing on a crane. The tutorial system surrounding the parkour here feels very isolated, if it makes any sense, because you're learning these new mechanics through an empty obstacle course in the safety of a building that's secured. The introduction before you can actually leave the building is about 40 to 45 minutes long. And back when this game released, and even to this day, replaying it, that sequence, there's always a feeling of, man, I just want to get through this. You know, I want to get out and explore the world and see what exactly the game has to offer beyond the safety of the tower. But during those 40 minutes, you learn scavenging, you're introduced to combat very briefly, you only attack one zombie, you learn crafting, and then you learn parkour, then of course your stash that's available. In contrast, Dying Light 2 also starts off with a cutscene. The difference is immediate. The original game introduces you to loud noises attracting the infected, ants in, and of course the security of the tower. Dying Light 2 starts up with Aiden being chased by the infected in a tunnel. I'm not gonna say exactly what happens during that cutscene after that, but this world and these characters are already established, so it starts off with getting to know a little bit of Aiden and some of the background that he has and a relationship he has with one of the first characters you speak to. And then as soon as that cutscene ends, instead of being taken to a safe haven and then you're introduced to all these characters and all this extra dialogue, instead the world is kind of already open to you. It's very scripted, a little linear, but at least you're not locked in a building, you know, having that feeling of, fuck, I just want to get out here and explore. The parkour is immediately introduced to you. The whole, I don't know, I want to say 30 to 40 minutes in the beginning here is you running through the wilderness. You're learning not only the parkour, but you learn scavenging, you learn crafting, what the updated survivor sense looks like, which I gotta say I'm a big fan of. I love how you can see things through walls now and you can tell what type of object it is, whether it be a trash can, a duffel bag, or a closet. And then during the sequence, you're also introduced to combat, again in a way that feels a little bit more liberating because you're not in any closed areas. You're running through the wilderness, and even though it feels more open, it obviously is scripted and a little bit more tamed, but I feel like even though the story, the pacing at the beginning is kind of a little bit off, the gameplay, the mechanics, the introduction to that at least, I feel is quite solid. And then after that initial hour, everything actually seems to balance out a little bit better, at least from what I've seen. I've only hit about the 3.5 hour mark. I just got to the point where the world has opened up to me, so I can start to explore the city of Villador at my own pace. But in hindsight, preparing this video, it's interesting because it's almost like the tutorial system introduces you to parkour and combat in a way that almost instinctively you try to instantly combine the two, rather than in the original game where you learn parkour and then you're kind of forced to manage how you're gonna do combat once you're outside the tower's doors. And then as you upgrade your combat, then you're introduced to dropkick and then other abilities that creative players start to combine the two just naturally. But so far, I think it's a step in the right direction. But let me know what you guys think. Have you guys played Dying Light yet? Did you pretend like you're from New Zealand like I did and that's how you got to play it a little earlier than everyone else? Are you actually from New Zealand? Or are you just waiting to the official release? Let's talk. I'm probably gonna revisit this topic in the future because I find it very interesting and I'm kind of skipping a lot of details that I really wanted to talk about. But for the sake of not ruining that initial experience for a lot of people, I decided decided to just cut it out and, talk about it later. But we got just a few more hours to go until this game is finally out. But in the meantime, maybe consider watching some of my other Dying Light content, or even joining the Discord. Link is down in the pinned comment. I am going to be live streaming this game once it goes live, and it's not just a normal live stream. I'm going to be pulling in viewers to join my game, join my voice chat as a celebration of sorts to consolidate this community of mine that I'm building. And we're not going to be doing main quests. It's all going to be side quest related, as to not spoil anything for any of the viewers. I respect that, and I'm going to be pretty strict when it comes to adhering to that. So if you want to ask me a question, you want to chat, talk shit, whatever it is, join the Discord, and then before we go live, we'll make an announcement, and we'll go from there. But like always, my name is Cynic. Thank you all so much for watching, but until later, I'll see y'all then.